What's going on, everyone? It's the True Geordie back again, well, for the first time on the MMA Hangover, the brand new show on TG2. Now, you know I've got the Football Hangover on the main channel, but I'm kind of secretly looking forward to doing this show more because football's fun. It's very fun, but fighting, it's more fun, in my opinion anyway, because, you know, on football, you lose a game, so what? You concede a goal, you know, it's alright, you're a bit gutted, obviously you're gutted, but the consequences aren't that great, you know, next week we'll play again, hopefully we'll win that one. In this game, in this sport, you lose, you get your head cracked, you hit the fucking deck, you're knocked out cold, someone's lifting the title that you've worked so hard to get, you are staring retirement in the face, will I ever come back from this? The consequences are just so much fucking greater, aren't they? I fucking love this game. So, the biggest fight right now in the MMA world is Luke Rockhold versus Dana White. Dana White isn't even a fucking fighter, but still, he always manages to fall out with the cunts. Now, this all came about when Dana White gave GSP the title shot against Mike Bisping. There was a load of middleweight contenders watching, thinking, how the fuck is that fucking fair? GSP's been out 4 years or whatever the fuck it is now. He walks straight back into a title shot. This isn't fair. Luke Rockhold's banging on to everyone who'll fucking listen, saying, it isn't right. You know, we all deserve some sort of interim title shot or something like that. I want what's due to me. Dana White responds like, yeah, you'll get what you're given and you'll like it, bitch. To be fair to Dana, he did give a fair explanation for it. He says to Luke Rockhold, look, you've just been knocked out, mate. In order for you to get a title shot, you've got to earn it. You've got to get back in the ring and beat someone who's a good contender and work your way back into the title shot. Luke Rockhold then goes on Twitter and goes, earn it. How the fuck did GSP earn it? Think before you run your mouth. Now, that tweet made me laugh because it's like, you're talking to your boss, essentially. Like, that's a one-way ticket to Bellator, isn't it? But, you know, I'm looking at it and I'm far from a GSP fan. Anyone who's seen the Dan Hardy interview will know I'm not really a GSP fan, but, you know, I think GSP, with 9 straight title defenses or whatever the fuck it was, he was unbeaten for God knows how long. One of the legends of the UFC. Once again, not a GSP fan, but still accept what the fuck he is. In his return fight, he should be able to basically call out any cunt he wants and get a title shot. I don't care if it's John Jones, whoever, it's GSP. Not only is he a great fighter, a legend of the game, he draws. He brings in the money. And we all know in Dana's eyes, that is basically, you get to call your own shots. Look at Conor. So, fair enough, I think GSP deserved the Mike Bisping fight. What is quite ironic is that GSP spent the majority of his UFC life avoiding the middleweight champion when it was Anderson Silva in his fucking prime. But as soon as Silva's on the decline and it's Bisping in the title seat, he's like, all right then, I think I'll move up now. And it's like, fuck, how long has it taken you? And now you wait until you're 4 years out of fucking the game to do it. Fair enough. But I've got a little bit of a conspiracy for this because I just don't trust GSP as far as I can fucking throw him, to be honest. Remember that in the years where the UFC pretty much allowed drug use, steroid use and all of that, GSP was the strongest motherfucker there was at welterweight, by a fucking mile. It wasn't even a contest. Everyone was on the gear and yet he was the strongest, but he was clean. Alright, maybe that's a possibility. But then you see the pictures coming out of the growth gut, the roid gut, whatever you want to call it. He basically has massive shoulders and in a very odd shape to him. One that often bodybuilders have where they've got this muscular physique and this very round, large belly. He is showing signs of that. There's just no two ways about it. The pictures come out of him in camp, trying to get ready for the fight. He does a press conference in March. Now, you're thinking usually that would mean that a fight is going to take place 3, maybe 4 months later, which would have it in the summer. That's when everyone was expecting it. Bisping's asking for a summer fight. And then remember that you have to have about a 4-month window of drug testing before you can fight. GSP comes out and says, all right, I want the fight to take place in November. I mean, I think you've had the press conference in March. Why do you want to wait until November? Wait, 4 months. You got to take all this time. You're looking like that. All right, you're wanting time to get ready. Oh, ready. Oh, I get what you mean, GSP. Oh, I'm sure you'll be ready, mate. Before anyone shoots us in the comments, it's just a theory. I am of the opinion that everyone was on gear in the UFC in those days, which makes his wins still wins. Doesn't take anything away from them. I'm not saying you should have a no contest, which is what they're doing these days, which I still think is a bit ridiculous. He still was better than everyone else. There's no doubt about it. But you know, the signs are there, in my opinion, of why he's trying to delay the fight as long as he can. And maybe he's just trying to get ready. But the strange thing was, in the first press conference, he said that everyone, himself, his trainers, said that he was better now than he'd ever been. So it sounds like you're ready, mate. How'd you get the gloves on, get in the fucking cage in the summer, instead of making everyone wait until fucking December or whatever the fuck it is to watch your fight? Bisping talked about it a little bit on his podcast, and you could tell he was fucking gutted. Not only to lose the payday of GSP, but GSP is a sweet fight compared to Yoel Romero, who is a fucking monster. And he's probably just a fuck as well, to be fair. But he is huge, that gun. So now, if it is Bisping versus Yoel Romero, why don't they do the obvious? Make Nick Diaz versus GSP. Nick Diaz hasn't won a fight since 2011, for Christ's sake. Everyone still talks about him like he's this #1 contender, top-level fighter, which he probably is, but he hasn't won a fight since 2011. Let's get him back in the fucking cage, let's get GSP in the cage, and watch them two go at it. I'd like to see that. And speaking of getting people to fight, I can't do the first ever MMA hangover without talking about McGregor versus Mayweather. I don't know if this fight's ever going to fucking happen. It's starting to frustrate the fucking life out of me. Dana White's coming out saying he might have agreed terms with, you know, McGregor, but then he's got to take that percentage that they've agreed on and then agree another percentage with Mayweather. And you know what Mayweather's like, man. Whenever anything involves big risk, big money, anything like that with Mayweather, it takes a year just to get a fight made with this good, let alone to get the fucking fight in motion, do the fucking training camp. I'll never forget when he took on Pacquiao. Desperate to see that fight. Pacquiao was going berserk in the ring. He was knocking out everyone, just destroying people. He looked like an awful matchup for Mayweather at that time. And Mayweather made every fucking excuse in the book, waited, and the second Pacquiao gets knocked out, Mayweather's like, oh, just get me boxing gloves on. I'll be right there with you, pal. What was that we were quarrelling over? Oh, forget about it. We'll sign the contract. No problem. No problem, mate. In terms of how I see these two, a lot of people think they're very similar because they both brag and they both like flash things. They're not similar at all. McGregor, in terms of how he destroys people verbally, is on a level 10 times above Mayweather. Mayweather is actually a bit of a thick cunt when he speaks a lot of the time. And I don't really have a lot of respect for Mayweather as a man because of what he's done with women in the past and all that. Me went to fucking prison for that shit. You know, you can research it yourself. But I respect Mayweather as a boxer. The man is the best defensive boxer in the history of the game. But the fact that at 49-0, he is choosing to break the record with a man who's got an 0-0 boxing record. Oh, brave. Well done, mate. That's brave. Then you've got McGregor going into the back garden with this, in a different sport entirely, going head to head with one of the greatest, if not the greatest of all time, in a sport he's never even done before. That says all you need to know about the difference between these two. And I know there's a lot of money involved, and a lot of people have accused us of riding the dick of McGregor. I'm not at all, man. If you this is me looking at this from an emotionless point of view. That says a lot about these two, in my opinion. As for what will happen in the ring, Mayweather will probably just dance around and not get touched like he always does. He's got everything in his favour. I think the best hope from an MMA fan's point of view is to get Mayweather to have the smallest gloves on possible so he struggles to defend himself. That'll help McGregor's power because he's used to having small gloves. Other than that, and McGregor's got great timing, Mayweather's getting older, maybe that can take effect, but I'm not keeping my hopes up. Mayweather comes in sharp as shit usually, and he doesn't take people lightly, so that's what I'm expecting, a Mayweather decision. Now, a lot of people have been talking about who is the greatest of all time in MMA, so I'm going to talk a little bit about that, but first, I'm going to talk about UFC 211, which happened last weekend, and for me, one of the standout fights was on the fucking undercard, and that is why MMA is doing so fucking well. Poirier versus Alvarez was an absolute fucking war. Like, people were raving about Joshua Klitschko because it lived up to the hype. But this didn't have a lot of hype. But it was a very similar back and forth kind of fight. One, like, Poirier lands a massive dig on Alvarez. He's fucking falling all over the place. Then his heart brings him back into the fight. For me, skill for skill set, I would say Poirier is the better fighter. And he is on the up. But Alvarez's heart, it's very hard to put him out. Like, it really is. The fact that McGregor did it is now even more impressive because Poirier was throwing fucking everything at him and he just would not stay down. I can't wait to see the rematch, and I'm actually going to say right now, am I going to give a prediction? Poirier. I'm going to say Poirier wins the rematch. No, I'm not. I'm going to say Alvarez. Am I? On to Amaya versus Masvidal, and I was a little bit disappointed with this fight. Not that I didn't get what I was expecting, I did, and that's why I was disappointed. You know, Amaya comes at you, he's just like a fucking boa constrictor trying to strangle you, and you know, I just want to see more. I like that he's very good at BJJ, but that's such a one-dimensional fight when you're watching it. Him shooting for the takedown, half a mile across the fence, the other guy trying to defend it, and then trying to land shots, and as soon as he gets within range, Maya gets a takedown. It's really 2000, year 2005 level MMA. It's not the level of MMA we expect to see now. Maya is so one-dimensional, and you just expect better from this day and age. Don't get us wrong, what he is good at, he is amazing at. But if he was just a little bit better at everything else, he would be world champion. Even still, he might be world champion. He's gotten the fucking title fight after beating Masvidal. And let us know what you think in the comments below. Can Maya beat Woodley? Because I just think Woodley is going to be too well-rounded. But still, he definitely could beat him. Now I want to Joanna Jędrzejczyk, or whatever the fuck, however the hell you say it, versus Jessica Andrade. Very good fight. I love the fact that both of these stayed on their feet. They're fucking going at it. You had the clinical sniper striker in Joanna, and Jessica, the brawler, going at it. And Joanna just took her to bits. It was surgical. But the thing is, people are going a bit crazy. Talking about her. Big Brown, Brendan Sharp, I fucking love what he does. His podcast is great. What they do on The Fighter and the Kid is fantastic. But he came out and said, Joanna, pound for pound, is, I think, the #1 striker in MMA right now, men or women. Got to disagree. I think the way that fight was set up, the fact that Jessica is coming straight forward like a fucking zombie, just chin in the air, there to be hit and hit a million bazillion times she was in that fight. If you have that kind of fight, take the women and men out of it, and any of that kind of fighter, and put them against a Conor McGregor, against a Demetrius Johnson, against an Anderson Silva, even though he's over the hill, against a John Jones, against a Stipe Miocic. That person who's walking forward, so oblivious, so there to be hit, will not make it out of 2 or 3 rounds. Now, you can sit there and say that's a power issue. All right, maybe it is, but to go 5 rounds and get hit that many times and to still not be able to put her out. I think Joanna played it quite safe, to be honest. That style, if she's the greatest, she's the #1 pound for pound striker, she'll be going in there and killing her. Do you know what I mean? Finishing her off. And I wanted to say that, not actual death, but you know what I mean? I just think people are getting a bit crazy. You look at the last 2 fights that Joanna was in, she got her nose just smashed a bit, and there was a very close fight. All right, so the fact that she barely eked out a decision in her last fight, does that make the girl she fought also pound for pound, up top 5 striker, men and women? I just don't agree with it. I think there's holes in Joanna's game. She gets hit quite a lot. She takes a hit very well. She's got heart of a lioness, to be fair to her, but I think that she's getting overrated. And once there's a woman who is that light, who has power, I think she's going to get knocked out. I'm saying it right now, because she's there to be hit. On to the heavyweight title fight between Miocic, the champ, and Junior Dos Santos, the challenger, with Junior having a win over Miocic in the past. Alright, it was a close fight, but I thought this fight was going to be a lot fucking closer than what it was. Miocic came in and showed that growth, that improvement he's shown every time he's fought lately, and just fucking blasted him. He showed the wear and tear on Junior Dos Santos' body is real. All those wars he's had with Kane have taken that toll. He got them out there fucking quickly. He got him up against the cage, and it was really a bit like when Conor fought Chad Mendes in the 2nd round, where he just walked him around the cage and just kept laying into him until he eventually dropped, and it was fucking over. It was so fucking easy. Shockingly easy. You don't beat Junior Dos Santos that easy, but he did. He made it look easy. And now, really, there's only one fight left to make. It's Cain Velasquez versus Stipe Miocic, not only for the heavyweight title, but really for the greatest heavyweight fighter I have seen in MMA, personally. I think, alright, Fedor was great in his day, but I think we can all agree that these two in the modern era are the best 2 by a fucking mile. And if we can just get Cain fucking fit, we're going to have a fight on our hands. But that is a major issue coming into this fight. Miocic has been injury-free for a while now, but Cain can't stay fit. If he could, I would say not only is Cain Velasquez a winner of that fight, Cain Velasquez beats any fighter there ever has been in MMA. A fit Cain Velasquez in his prime, I don't think is beatable. Personally, you might sit there and say I'm wrong. Let us know in the comments below. Who is that guy? But he was so good, so technical, so fit. The endurance, the cardio, the power. He had everything. And now I think you've got to put your money on Miocic because Kane's injuries, his fitness, we don't know what's coming in. Whereas with Miocic, you know what's coming in. A fucking destroyer, an absolute wrecking machine. And that is a fight I really want to see happen. I want Kane to win. Kane, I like Kane a lot, but I like them both. What I like about them is they're heavyweight champions, the pair of them, but they're such normal blokes. They're family men. You know, what you're going to do after this to sleep with Miocic? Rogan asks, and Miocic's like, just get me kitchen sorted, really. Happy Mother's Day, everyone. Do you know, he's such a normal bloke, and I like them both for that reason. They're very likeable, and we just have to see this fucking fight. Now, I said I was going to talk about who's the greatest of all time, and I don't really fucking want to. A, because I'd like to save it till the episode 10 of the MMA Hangover when we're running out of things to talk about, and B, because you're never going to get agreement. I'm guaranteed I'm going to get shit in the comments already, even just by mentioning greatest of all time. Reason being is that there's a lot of people out there claiming that Demetrius Johnson, Mighty Mouse, is the GOAT. And I'm not fucking having it. People I really respect, Joe Rogan, Brendan Shaw, people like that, they're putting them right up there. And I can't be fucking having that. I'm sorry. He is a great fighter. Pound for pound number one right now. You probably agree with that. Maybe. Yeah, he's got a lot of fucking title defenses. Who against? Who knows? No, we'll get into that. But the thing is, with pound for pound rankings for a start, the advantage is always going to be in favour of the lighter fighters. They are always going to be able to hold their title the longer. You know, you look at Jose Aldo, you look at Demetrius Johnson, what he's doing now. Why is that? Well, the risk is less at the lighter weight classes because if you make a mistake and you get a punch in the face, the guy punching you is going to be a lot fucking lighter. There's a reason why the heavyweight title gets defended, 3 times and then it gets lost. I mean, look at, since Randy lost it, who's defended it? Well, Kane, 3 times. You know, that's the max, that's the record. Do you know what I mean? That's the reason. Because when you get hit, the heavier weight classes, it is fucking worse. The consequences are worse. So it is easier to go on longer win streaks the lighter you are. That is a fact. That is a fucking fact. Alright, sorry, I'm getting annoyed. Now, before we even look at all time, is he the greatest right now? I know he's a great fighter, and in the cage he looks amazing, but who's he beaten? John Dodson, Joseph Benavidez, good fighters, hardly household names though. Do you know what I mean? He's got a loss on his record of Dominic Cruz, who's the weight class above. Brad Pickett, greatest of all time, and you've lost to him. Yeah, he's a legend. I love him, but. Do you know what I'm saying? Who's he been fighting lately? Do you know what I mean? For me to be the best, it doesn't really matter that you've gone on a tear and you've beaten all the. Who are you beating? Do you know? I could go and beat a load of bums. I'm not saying he's been fighting bums, but they are not the level of competition that other fighters are facing. You look at who John Jones defended his fucking title against before it was stripped of him. That was death row. Do you know what I mean? These cunts, I'm not being funny. The last fight Harry fought had lost 2 fights ago. The one before that, I think, was an Ultimate Fighter winner. Can you imagine John Jones defending his title against someone straight from the Ultimate Fighter? Wouldn't fucking happen, mate. That is the level of competition that Mighty Mouse is fighting. And it's just not the same level. For me, to be the greatest of all time, it's subjective, but to help your case, you've got to do things in the history of time in your game that no one else has ever done. And alright, he's on course to do that in terms of numbers, he's beaten all these people, but we've seen people go on a tear before and fight a certain level of competition and then get exposed. So, you know, has he won 2 different titles at different weight classes like Conor McGregor did? No. McGregor was beating people like Chad Mendes, like Jose Aldo, who you could argue had a better skill set than anyone Mighty Mouse has fought and had 10 years undefeated before. Am I saying McGregor's the best of all time? No, I'm just making a case that there's other arguments. John Jones, he won the title light heavyweight. Higher risks, remember, harder punchers, and he went and did it against Shogun, who was an absolute fucking murderer at the youngest ever age. He fought people like Machida, made them look nothing. Has, you know, Mighty Mouse ever fought anyone of Machida's quality? No, and not in my. Maybe Dominic Cruz, but he lost to Dominic Cruz. Do you know what I'm saying? That was a while ago, and he's gotten better since then. But if you're that good, if you're the greatest ever, surely you should be able to do what other people have done, what Anderson Silva did, what Conor McGregor's done. Move up and win at another weight class. If you can't do that, if you haven't done that, you're not the greatest of all time, mate. I'm not having it. You've got to do things that other people have done before and do it better to be classed as the greatest ever. Doesn't matter how many photos you get with your belt when you've beaten the Ultimate Fighter winner and whatever else. It's time to step up, mate. You've got people there like TJ Dillashaw, like Dominic Cruz, like Cody Garbrandt. If you go and beat them 3, motherfucker, I'll rest my case. You'll be the greatest ever. But if you haven't done that, I'm not having it yet. It's too much yet. It's too much. All right, that's enough of me rambling. I'm not an expert. I'm just a fan of the UFC. I love MMA. I love fighting. I love sports. I love boxing. I'm going to talk about anything I fucking want on this channel, to be quite honest with you. If someone pisses me off on the street, I'm putting it out there. It's up to me. This is the TG2 YouTube channel. The professional shit, well, semi, we can keep on the main channel. But I hope you've enjoyed this anyway. I love fighting. And if you do too, I hope you let us know what you thought of what I've said in the comments below. If you've enjoyed the video, hit the fucking like button if you want us to do more. Stay subscribed to the True Geordie 2 YouTube channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.